Anyway, let's try and get an American view of the world right now. Where to start? I do know a man that will have answers. Not necessarily and certainly not always the right answers, but he will have answers. He's one of my oldest friends in the fight business. He held my hand at the Alex Stewart against Evander Holyfield fight in 1847. Please welcome to the BBC London 94.9 show for the first time in 2011, Mighty Mike Marley. Mike!
Hey, Steve, how are you? Happy New Year, my friend. I have to tell you, Larry Holmes, who I was with, along with Vladimir Klitschko, we'll get to that in a minute, but with him, Joe Frazier, Jerry Cooney.
Where was this?
A few others. Well, there's a new boxing show on a network over here called FX. It's
that's right, there's a drama.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's not because my friend and your friend, John Solberg, is now doing publicity over there.
Oh, wow.
Not because he's connected with it, but I'll tell you, it is a first-rate program, and the people can, I guess in the UK, can probably catch it online or something.
Oh, it'll be here soon.
Really, it's really well done. It's really, I think it's going to do for boxing what the Sopranos did for the mob.
Yeah, that's what we've heard. Mike, are you on speakerphone, Mike?
No, I'm not, sir.
Okay, so you just drifting in.
I was by the computer. Maybe.
Yeah.
I was going to mention, so Larry Holmes said to me that I'm the last of the Mohicans. I said, what do you mean? He says, where are the old, newspaper boxing writers? There aren't the old-time writers are not around. I said, well, old being the key word, Larry. But I said, there is another Mohican. He says, who's that? I said, Steve Bunce over in England. So Larry said, well, I guess there's two.
Yeah, there is two. I spent about, I went to the interview Larry once. I thought I was going to be there about 30 minutes like you usually get. And anyway, we did an interview. We ran out of tape. We did about 2.5 hours non-stop. Then he wanted to take us down to the bar. Then he wanted to, down to the restaurant. Then he wanted to take us to a couple of gyms. Then he wanted to take us to a bar. We crawled back into New York about 14 hours later. It was fantastic. It was vintage. It was legendary. I loved every second of it. Mike!
You saw every part of tiny Eastern Pennsylvania.
Oh, listen, twice. I saw every part twice. Let me ask you this, Mike. I know you've been writing non-stop on your site about the Vlad and blah 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 and the rest of them, and boy oh boy, there's a lot of them. But what's your understanding about what's happened here? Is it boxing's loss that Vladimir's not fighting David Haye?
Good question, Steve. I'll tell you, I have to put on my lawyer hat.
Yeah, go on, please do.
Take aside my Examiner.com. By the way, boxing fans can find my daily columns on Examiner.com.
Yep.
Just look under Michael Marley. And I have to tell you, but I understand. I mean, they had a contract with Chisora for that fight December 11th.
Yep.
Frank Warren wasn't even going to let them walk out on that.
No chance of that, is there?
Right. So, is the world excited? I just wrote that I see the Chisora fight is one day after the royal wedding. I think you'll see better fights at the royal wedding than you'll see with Chisora and Vladimir. But I have to tell you, I saw Vladimir twice yesterday, and I really not spent much time around him prior to that, but he can be very, very funny.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
He's got quite the personality. His girlfriend is a Hollywood star named Hayden Panettiere.
She weighs about 50 pounds wet.
Right. I said she's a flyweight, and he said no, she's a flyweight. But they both put David Haye, the Haymaker, on blast. And basically, what Vladimir told me last night, I saw him in the morning, and he told me at one function, he told me the fight is on. Forget what you heard.
Wow.
And the fight is on. I'm fighting this guy on July 2nd. Well, by the time I saw him, Haye and Adam Booth then put Vitaly on blast on your side of the pond.
Sure.
And when I saw him last night, he said, "What? This guy needs an attitude adjustment," meaning David Haye.
Yeah.
He said, "I wanted to give it to him in the ring." He says, but he acts like he's the real champion. I'm the real champion of heavyweight champions. Now, I don't know what brother Vitaly would say about that. But the funny thing was, Steve, that even the actress, his girlfriend Hayden, and she is lovely, by the way.
I'll take your word for that.
She put Haye on blast and said he's afraid to fight my man because he'll be badly beaten by my man.
Yeah, well.
So I don't know if Mr. Haye has a wife, girlfriend, or both, or whatever.
Does. He has a wife and a couple of kids. Yeah.
Well, then we could have the wife battling Klitschko's girlfriend, and
she's a lot taller. She's a normal woman. She's about 5'9" or something. She's not one of those little actresses from Hollywood.
Yeah, the little 5'1" actress.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Mike. Let me ask you this just very quickly.
No, but I was just going to say. I mean, he has to go through with that. I don't know why the Chisora fight is happening, but it is happening. Why wouldn't David Haye? He's got the situation with Chigayev. I mean, they both could have paid step-aside money to Chigayev and to Chisora.
Oh, well, they were going to pay. They were going to pay step-aside money if the fight had happened on April the 30th. There's no dispute with that. And what David and what Adam is saying is that how this creates a problem with the WBA is they can't pay a guy for step-aside money for a fight that hasn't been signed and sealed. So Chigayev will correctly push for his mandatory position and create. And the longer it goes, and the more desperate David Haye is to get in the ring with a Klitschko, the more money Chagayev's going to ask for. Till at one point you're going to have to give him the fight. Because let me ask you this, Mike, before I let you go. What Adam is saying that there's no way they were going to agree to letting Vladimir fight on April the 30th and then fight them on July 2nd. Now that's only about 7 or 8 weeks or so. Mike, you've been around fights a lot longer than me. I know you just look younger.
Right.
Look, that's not enough time for a build up for a fight like this, is it? Even 9 weeks.
Not really, but I'll tell you this recent fusillade where they're blasting each other. And by the way, Vladimir said he charged Booth with fraudulently posing as a boxing manager. He said a trainer he is, a manager he's not. But this sniping between the two camps, I got to tell you, on my side of the pond, it's created some interest in the heavyweight division.
Thank God for that, Mike.
Exactly, Steve, but only in this one fight.
Yeah, well, this is the only fight. Yeah, Mike, this is the only fight. Mike, I'm going to have to let you go because I've got to move on. It's a pleasure talking to you. Mike, can you do me a favour? When you speak to John Solberg, can you maybe give him my contact details? Because I'd love to find out more about that show you mentioned, because people are already talking about it on the various websites.
I'm going to exchange an email with you, and you'll have his email. Listen,
Mike Marley, it's a pleasure. We'll speak to you very soon. Woo! I love Mike Marley. Some people don't. I personally do. Now,